The Final Furlong podcast is proudly brought to you by Jeff Banks Bet. Join the excitement and sign up to Jeff Banks online now to get 10% off any net losses returned as cash after your first month of betting up to £500 at jeffbanks.bet. Hello and welcome to the Final Furlong podcast as we preview the best betting opportunities for the weekend's racing. I'm Emmet Kennedy, joined once again by Peter Michael. Welcome back to the show, Peter.
Thank you, Emmet. Thanks for having me again.
Great to have you back, and a man making his debut, a long-awaited debut on the Final Furlong podcast. He puts up lays of the day and crushes them every single day on the tweet machine. You can read his content on sportscasting.com and sportslens.co.uk. Andy Newton, welcome to the Final Furlong podcast.
Emmet, Peter, hello. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Andy.
Great to have you on board. Great to get the insight from the two boys. Let's get straight into it. We're going to start with the Curragh Cup. No, we're not. We are going to touch on the Curragh Cup just a little bit. A race I'm fascinated by is the 340 Jennings Bet Sweet Solera Stakes, the Group 3 over 7 furlongs. The betting is headed by Aidan O'Brien's Lake Victoria and Charlie Appleby with Mountain Breeze. They're the 1-2. Neither of these trainers have won this race before, although the Godolphin team did win 5 runnings of this race from 2009 to 2013. Andy, let's start with you. Who do you like?
Well, it looks a bit of a, as you say, like a bit of a two-horse sort of shootout. I look back as well, and it's interesting that Aidan's sending it over. He's never won this race. Interesting ride as well for Pat Dobbs on the Godolphin horse. But he's won this race as well, in the past. You have to go back a while, but he's got some form here, and it does look a bit of a shootout between the pair, really. I mean, Mountain Breeze second in the Duchess of Cambridge last time, only beating 3/4 of a length, but it ran on quite well that day, didn't it? So you think the extra furlong here, 7 furlongs, will be, right up its street. And if pushed, I mean, Lake Victoria, it only won by head, didn't it? I think at the Curragh last time. Frankel filly, it's one of those, you hate to say the old could be anything O'Brien won, but that's exactly what it is at the moment. 1 run, 1 win, but just by a head. So I think for me, I'm just going to side slightly with experience here. And, we know the Appleby runners, their strike rate with the 2-year-olds at Newmarket is just like immense. So Mountain Breeze for me, and probably the Colbert runner they won the race last year, didn't they? Liberalised and Flamestone as the sort of ones that could cause an upset if you are sort of looking for a bit more value. But Mountain Breeze, I think, Emmet, I'm going to side with that one here.
Yeah, and Andrew Balding won the race a couple of years ago as well. He's represented by Flaming Stone. I think this is a fascinating race, Peter. The Mountain Breeze obviously sets the standard. I can completely see where Andy's coming from. I hope more people are thinking like Andy, because I hope that this horse is going to be put up by everybody and she ends up flip-flopping and becoming the favourite, and Lake Victoria takes a bit of a drift on the Saturday morning. No Ryan Moore on board, a maiden winner. Is she that good? She's going up against a Godolphin filly who's battle-hardened. Stepping up and trip will probably suit her. She was ran a decent race at Royal Ascot, ran very well the last day. Form has been boosted by Heaven's Gate coming out and winning a valuable race at Naas on Bank Holiday Monday. And that's when we strike. That's when we take Sean Levy to come along for the old boss Aidan O'Brien and get another big group win this year. I think this Lake Victoria could be a bit special. Aidan's got an embarrassment of riches amongst the juvenile fillies division. Bedtime Story and Fairy Godmother obviously are very high up on that list. Dreamy, I thought an awful lot of last week, winning at Glorious Goodwood. She doesn't have any big race entries, but Aidan's won that valuable maiden twice before. Shout out to Dubai Ace, who let me know not only did he win it with Rhododendron, but also Alexandrova, who I completely forgot about. So both of those horses are the only 2 he's trained to win that filly's maiden before. They both went on to win multiple Group 1s. Hopefully Dreamy can do something similar. She doesn't have any big race entries. Lake Victoria does. Multiple big race entries, including a Group 1. And what she did on debut was really impressive. Herself and Gerline's Red Letter have pulled miles clear of everything else. She was very, very brave towards the finish of that race as well. Red Letter has since gone out and bolted up in a filly's maiden. 3 winners have emerged from this race. Ger is talking about running Red Letter in the Moigler next time out. Caesar is a Group 1 filly. Lake Victoria's just going to have a little bit too much firepower here, Peter.
Yeah, I think so too. As you were saying about that maiden, it was a battle of the Frankel fillies when she beat Red Letter. Red Letter now was... Lake Victoria probably got the run of the race that day, but I think that's good form. I think a lot of Red Letter, and as you said, she's gone on to frank the form, winning very impressively. The only thing just as me on my side as a punter, I'm not keen on the flat. I'm not keen on backing horses in their second run, but less so with the better trainers and the higher quality horse. So I would make exceptions for the likes of a horse like this with Aidan O'Brien training it. And I'm a big fan of the jockey. It's great to see Sean Levy up on her. I would be siding with Lake Victoria. Unusually though for Ryan Moore, he got quite stuck into one first time out. I think he gave that horse 4 or 5 cracks inside the last furlong, which they very rarely do first time out. Now, when she did go to the front, she did have her ears pricked, and she was probably having a bit to look around. And Aidan said that in the quote after, that she had her ears pricked when she took the lead and basically up to the line. But I think another few yards, Red Letter would have won, but there's no shame in that because I think a lot of Red Letter. So Lake Victoria for me, yeah. I agree with you, Emmet.
I feel like I need to change my selection now. You guys have made a great case.
No, don't, Andy. You need to keep pushing the propaganda that Mountain Breeze is the one they all have to beat and that she should really be the favourite so that Peter and I can swoop in then and get a nice big price on the drifting Lake Victoria.
England here.
Yeah, exactly. Literally. A bit of Dubai mixed in there as well. I do not underestimate Mountain Breeze. I think she is going to appreciate the step up and trip, and she does set a big standard. But that was a career high RPR for her last time out, which was 97. Lake Victoria ran to a 94 on debut, so she doesn't have to improve that much to be able to beat her. And I think she will. Her siblings have been slow so far. Bluegrass, very slow. But Coolmore paid, I think, 2.1 million guineas off the top of my head to get Quiet Reflection, the multiple Group 1 winner, dual sprint Group 1 winner. And this one looks to have inherited all the genes. The Frankel Quiet Reflection genes seem to be there. So Lake Victoria, hopefully a drifter on Saturday morning.
The only thing is, if it does drift, this has been not a bad race for the old favourites here. 43. You want it to be favourite. You heard, 23%, in the last 21 years, the favourites here. So that's what I'd say.
Here's the request. Saturday morning, all the gurus, more people like Andy, who know the form book like the back of their hand, have put up Mountain Breeze, and she's the one who becomes favourite. Lake Victoria goes out to 5-2, and then the lads pile in before the off, and she gets sent off favourite, and we win. Happy days! Assuming we get the price on Saturday morning, of course. This episode of the Final Furlong podcast is only possible with your support, listening and watching, and with the support of our sponsors. So give me 60 seconds to tell you about Jeff Banks Bet. Betting on horse racing used to be very simple. It was us, the punter, versus them, the bookmakers, the old enemy. But today, betting with online bookmakers is zero fun. Online betting companies promise you the world, but if you have the nerve and the audacity to place a winning bet, they will make you jump through endless hoops just to access your cash. It is not fair and it's not fun. And betting is supposed to be fun. Jeff Banks is different. He's one of the most recognizable faces in British racing. He's got pitches at racecourses all across the United Kingdom. He is a true horse racing fan. And while Jeff very much promotes responsible betting, he is standing up and fighting back against these insane affordability checks. Affordability checks that will destroy the levy and kill British racing. Sign up to jeffbanks.bet right now. Use our promo code FFP500, and not only will you get access to a bookmaker who values your custom, who is a racing fan, but he'll give you best odds guaranteed on British and Irish racing, and he'll give you 10% cash back on net losses after your first month, up to £500. Gamble responsibly, 18 plus only, begambleaware.org. It's tradition refined with modern tech and unbeatable odds. Use our promo code FFP500 and place your bets now with Jeff Banks Bet. To the 6 furlong Keeneland Phoenix Stakes, the feature race of the whole day, whole weekend. Sorry, France, but this is the one that takes priority. Whistlejacket, whose full brother, Little Big Bear, absolutely crushed his rivals in this race 2 years ago. Can his brother win? I don't think he'll put up a similar performance. If he does, that would be quite something, but he's going to take all the beating. He's a 5-4 on favourite with Jeff Banks Bet. Ger Lyons, who has two very talented fillies. Red Letter we've talked about already. Barbouche has looked an absolute superstar so far, and she beat a Coolmore horse last time out. Colin Keane on board. Heaven's Gate is going to rock up again by the looks of things after winning on Monday. Arizona Blaze for David Egan, Adrian Murray, a 14-1 shot. Shadow Army, interesting runner with first-time cheek pieces for Richard Fahey and James Doyle, a 14-1 shot for the Watan team. And Rudy's Apple, another son of no name ever, Joseph O'Brien, Dylan Brown McGonigal, who's riding brilliantly, is on board and rounds off the field. Peter, at the Curragh on Saturday, who's going to take the Phoenix Stakes?
Well, I had it down like everyone, is a 2-runner race. I was a bit surprised to see Heaven's Gate declared first. She only won a few days ago. I don't know if she'll run. You think she would run, that they declared her, but I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't run. Whistlejacket was incredibly impressive at Newmarket. He relished the step up to 6 furlongs, as you could have envisaged looking at his runs over 5 furlongs. So he's probably the right favourite, but I think Babouche is the wrong price. I'd have them a lot closer in the betting here. I was very impressed with Babouche first time out, like everyone else, and I thought she did well at the Curragh. She kind of had to quicken twice. She quickened to go and win a race, and then Ger Lyons stated that she was only Dawson in front. She was kind of idling. Looking at it, you could kind of see that. It wasn't as obvious as he was saying, but Ger's not a man to waste his words. And I thought she had to quicken again to go and win it, and she hit the line very strongly. There's a line of form between if you look at Camille Pissarro and Arizona Blaze on good ground, because I know Whistlejacket has beaten Arizona Blaze by 3 3/3 lengths in soft ground. There's a line of form between Arizona Blaze and Camille Pissarro, which you can relate to Whistlejacket and Babouche, that doesn't leave them, it leaves them pretty closely matched. So, I mean, I can envisage Ryan going to the front here, setting a fast pace, which is always a good thing in the Curragh. The Curragh is not an easy track these days to come from behind on. And I can see Colin just tracking him and trying to come with one run, maybe a furlong and a half out. And I don't know who's going to win, but at the prices, it'd have to be Babouche for me.
Aidan O'Brien has won 5 of the last 10 runnings of the Phoenix Stakes. I think he'll win. Barbouche is a really interesting horse, obviously. I think the more interesting one, though, for forecast purposes, is Shadow Army. I'm kind of surprised he's turning up to this race. He was very good on debut when he beat Francisco's Peace. We know he's held in pretty high regard. Richard Fahey was saying on Racing TV that the weather had been so bad he hadn't been able to get enough fast work into his juveniles as he would have liked, and that he really wasn't as forward as he would have wanted him to be. And he was kind of surprised he won first time up. He was saying in the lead up to Royal Ascot in his Sporting Life blog that he was absolutely the best 2-year-old that he had in his yard. He said the very same thing that day. As part of the Royal Ascot coverage, we were doing it for TalkSport. He got sent off the 4-1 favourite for the Windsor Castle. Probably didn't run his race. It just all came a little bit too much for him. They've taken him to France, and he's run a blinder in a Group 2. And they've upped him to Group 1 company with first-time cheek pieces and James Doyle coming over. I think he's a really interesting runner. I don't think he can win, but I think he can definitely get involved in the finish and boost the profits on Whistlejacket, or if you want to go with Peter, with Barbouche. He's going into a forecast there for me.
Myself, I think it's a 2-runner race, so I can't see Whistlejacket out of the first 2. So I think Barbouche and Whistlejacket are going to finish first and second. I think it's going to be close, but as a punter, you can only back one horse, in my opinion, at the prices. So
on to Jeff's side, do a TriCast, straight TriCast. If you're with Peter, you're going Barbouche, Whistlejacket, Shadow Army. If you're with me, you're going Whistlejacket. Maybe Whistlejacket, Shadow Army, Barbouche. Just for a real upset.
Put Babouche for second. She won't be out of the first 2.
Well, let's see. And we're a big fan of Ger Lyons in the show. Andy, settle this one for us. Who is going to win? Of the 2 market leaders, who do you like most? And what do you think of Shadow Army? Whistlejacket wins. We're done.
No problem.
That's the show. Thanks for watching.
Let's move on. No, I mean, super impressive last time. I just think, his fourth run. Hung a bit though, didn't it, to the left? But I just think that's the one. It's just going to power away. Babouche probably won for second. Shadow Army, he made a good case for it, maybe coming third. And as Peter said, Heaven's Gate, wouldn't be surprised if it didn't even run. So Whistlejacket all the way here. Get Aidan back on the old winning trail here and get those stats. Win number 18. His first 1998, by the way, in this race.
Jesus, there's good knowledge. Aidan O'Brien back on the Final Furlong podcast very soon, by the way. Obviously, Whistlejacket's form with Billboard Star wasn't franked, but Amori City was really impressive in the Vintage Stakes, so his form took a nice boost there. This is a paid advertisement from BetterHelp Therapy Online. What are your self-care non-negotiables? Maybe you never skip leg day or therapy day. When your schedule is packed with kids' activities, big work projects, and more, it's easy to let your priorities slip. Even when we know what makes us happy, it's hard to make time for it. But when you feel like you've no time for yourself, non-negotiables like therapy are more important than ever. If you've ever been in therapy, then like me, you know how beneficial it can be. But it's not just for those who've experienced major trauma. It's helpful for learning positive coping skills and setting boundaries. Therapy empowers you to be the best version of yourself. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a registered therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. With almost 5,000 therapists in the UK already, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a wide variety of expertise. Visit betterhelp.com/furlong today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/furlong. This is a paid advertisement by BetterHelp. Give online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/furlong to get 10% off your first month and get on your way to being your best self. Final race is the 445. It's the Dick Hern listed stakes. We should give it its proper name. It's the Irish Stallion Farms EBF Dick Hern Stakes listed race for fillies and mares. Over a mile, Indelible is the 11-4 favourite currently with Jeff Banks bet. Ed Walker and Safi Osborne have got American Arrow, daughter of American Pharaoh, and Canafaran for Jack Shannon, somebody we've interviewed a number of times on the show and on TalkSport too, a horse who's been a real flag bearer for them. Andy, who do you like in the 445 at Haydock?
Canafaran, interesting you mentioned that one. Yeah, Canafaran, the old Jack Shannon horse here. Interesting you mentioned that because stalls 1 and 2 here have won the last 4 runnings, all of the last 4, and the other one, so Canafaran's coming out of stall 2 and Indelible is coming out of stall 1. So both fairly fancied in the betting. So that's an interesting stat here. Obviously, we've got another Haggis horse as well. If you fancy one at a slightly bigger price, I think Orchard Bloom could be the one dropping down in form here, in class here. It's been running in sort of, a lot better races than this. And it's just, I think it's interesting that, Tom Marquand, obviously, top jockey riding there, and I just think that along with the Beckett horse that I've mentioned, Indelible, coming out of stall 1, he's got a great strike rate at the track, 24%, fourth in the Sandringham, second last time out of Sandown in a listed race, 3-year-old as well, so we'll be getting weight off the field here, so Beckett horses are going decent as well, so I think Indelible favourite here. Orchard Bloom has a little bit of an each way play for me as well.
Peter, what about you?
Race I don't have a firm opinion on, if I'm being honest, but the two I kind of was looking at would be Indelible and also Strutting for Kieran Schumark. He's a big price. He's around 14-1. They clashed at Royal Ascot, and Indelible is now £8 better off, but Strutting beat Indelible by just under 3 lengths. So on that form, there's not a whole pile between them, and one is 3-1, 11-4, and the other one is 14 or 16-1. Now, in saying that, I don't like the profile of Strutting. He doesn't seem an easy horse to win with,
no.
But there is an angle there that he could be able to dictate. There's not that many that like to go forward. He's one of a few, or possibly the only one that likes to go forward. And Kieran Schumark could dictate, and he could outrun his odds. So I'd possibly go with him each way because there's not much between the two of them, but Indelible's probably the most likely winner.
Yeah, she's the only one who wants to go forward, and that is a pretty damn big price. She's also well drawn in stall 5, so
hard horse to win with, but it's value, bit of value.
This is the weekend where Kieran Schumark comes roaring back into life. He lands
first set in the final Furlong podcast.
He wins on Lord North, he wins on Strutting, and then Ryan Moore gets beaten on Inspiral. And all is forgiven. He's back. He's back, baby. Keep the faith. Anyway, the best bet of the weekend, Andy Newton. Who's your nap?
I think Whistlejacket over in Ireland, Curragh. It's going to get Aidan back on the old Phoenix Stakes march. It won't lose. Okay.
Ooh, here comes Peter with Barbouche. What's your nap?
Well, I will be backing Barbouche in that race at the prices. I'd probably be backing her each way, to be honest. If you could get a bit of 3-1, 7-2. I wouldn't really have a nap for the weekend. There's nothing that stands out to me, but I'm going to give Golden Mur in the 410 at Haydock another chance. She absolutely, I'm just clicking the race here just to make sure I haven't mixed up with something else in my mind. She absolutely hacked up at Doncaster on the 28th of June. And I saw the interview afterwards with Ross O'Ryan, and he didn't need to say it because if you watch the race, you could see it, that she had a lot more to give. They ran her quickly enough after that, and she ran poorly. She was only beaten a length and a half, but clearly not the same horse that ran at Doncaster and won. So I think she's worth another chance. I think there's a chance she could still be a good few pounds ahead in handicapper, but she is coming off a bad run. But that would be my best bet of the weekend.
Okay, Rafe Beckett has won the last 2 rungs of that race, so he's going for the hat-trick with Golden Mare. Hector Crouch on board. That horse is going to have to figure in some way into the calculations of my bet for the weekend. My really scummy, like, are you okay bet. But if it comes off, then on Monday, the show will be recorded from the Bahamas. So it's going to be Kilt, Lord North, Jaref, Shartash, Lake Victoria, Whistlejacket, Strutting, and I'm going to blindly follow in Peter here with Golden Mare. So what are we talking? We're talking about the Goliath.
I thought you were going to say Vegas.
Might be Vegas as well.
Vegas,
so
Vegas
much money.
Well,
it's a good stopover.
And the girls to win the Curragh Cup. Why don't you just stick that in as well? Yeah. Look, they've won 2 of the last 3. They're on fire. Okay. I'm pretty sure there'll be a market on that somewhere. Odds checker or whatever. But yeah.
I don't think there should be a ladies' team because, like, first of all, the women just embarrass the men the whole time. Like, first of all, they keep winning that competition overall. It's like it's unfair an advantage at this point. Secondly, women are constantly beating men anyway. Female trainers beat male trainers. Female jockeys are beating male jockeys.
Isn't there 2 ladies teams? Is there 2 ladies teams this year? I'm not sure.
Is it an international female?
There's one international.
Yeah. So they'll be first and second, and the boys will come up in behind. I'm just going to go with the Goliath, Andy. I'm just going to go with the Goliath. But if we go like Super Goliath or whatever the other Goliath is called, and I throw that in as well, I'm pretty sure Jeff will be checking on my mental health. But hey, whatever gets you going. Kilt, Lord North, Jaref, Shartash, Lake Victoria, Whistlejacket, Strutting, and Golden Mare in a Goliath. We don't ask for much. I'm not asking for much. Just for 8 winners on a Saturday afternoon on all those races we previewed. That's pretty simple, isn't it? I think that's a reasonable request. Andy, really enjoyed your company today. Thank you so much for your insight. Hopefully we'll get you on again soon. Where can we read more of your content, please?
Yeah, sportscasting.com/UK, because there's an American version as well without the /UK on there. So a lot of it's on there at the moment. Sports Lens, obviously do some trends on GG's, Racing Ahead magazine as well. I'm everywhere at the moment.
You're good.
But yeah,
good way to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but mainly sportscasting, and as I said, check out the From the Stables and Trainers Quotes if you do like getting a bit of insight into direct from the yards. And 100% honestly, we speak to the trainers themselves every day, and get their honest opinions on their runners. So they, it's a great site.
Nothing like a bit of inside info. Peter, on X, crushing it as always. Anywhere else we can follow you?
No, not yet. Hopefully there will be. See how it goes. So just one place at the moment, and that's it. On X or Twitter, whatever they want to call it these days.
X, formerly known as Twitter, I believe, is what the legacy media like to call it. It's an interesting time on X. Let's just put it that way, shall we? Anyway, moving swiftly along, that's it. Thank you for watching and listening to this episode of the Final Furlong podcast. I should have done this earlier on. It's silly of me not to have, but if you haven't hit the like button or the subscribe button on YouTube, please do. We're still trying to make some waves there, and we've got some big guests coming on the show very, very soon, which we hope you will enjoy. From Andy, Peter, and from me, Emmet, enjoy your weekend. Best of luck. Gamble responsibly and all that malarkey. Look after yourself and each other. God bless. The Final Furlong podcast is proudly brought to you by Jeff Banks Bet. Join the excitement and sign up to Jeff Banks online now to get 10% off any net losses returned as cash after your first month of betting up to £500 at jeffbanks.bet.